Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to ask Mr. Hodges, you were here in duty, in uniform, on January 6th. Can you tell us just what you went through and what the size of the crowd was that was attacking the Capitol?
Certainly. I'll try to be brief. It was a very long day. Started at 7 in the morning on Constitution Avenue. Everyone filed into the ellipse to hear Trump give his rally, so to speak. And then they, afterwards, they started heading back towards up Constitution Avenue towards the Capitol. I heard on my radio that they discovered bombs. I heard on my radio that the Capitol was becoming under attack. The commander who was on scene at the Capitol was getting overwhelmed and called for my platoon to reinforce them. So we did. We got on our pads, made our way down to the Capitol.
So you went to where the trouble was?
Correct, yes. We got as far as the edge of the western property, but the crowd was so dense, we couldn't get any closer than that in a vehicle. So we got out on foot, started making our way towards the western terrace itself. While we were walking through the crowd, all Trump supporters, Trump flags, Trump gear, they started yelling at us, calling us stormtroopers, telling us to remember our oaths, calling us traitors, and we hadn't done anything yet. So
you were uniformed officers, right?
Yes.
No mask.
Correct.
And you were insulted with
Yes.
those terms.
Yes. Stormtroopers, to remember our oaths, all that nonsense. And then eventually, when we were making our way through the crowd, we were attacked. Cut off from our leadership. I was hit over the head from behind, lurched forward, and someone tried to steal my baton. I was able to retain my weapon, and I tried to forge a path through the crowd. Unfortunately, I looked back and saw that the rest of my colleagues were under attack from more of the mob. I went back to try and I succeeded in pulling some of the assailants off my colleagues until I was attacked again. Someone tried to steal my baton again. We wrestled for control, went to the ground with it. He kicked me in the chest. I went to my hands and knees, and the medical mask I was wearing at the time got pulled up over my eyes. So I was blind, surrounded by the mob. But thankfully, my colleagues were able to free themselves from their attackers and came to my defense. I got up, and I forged another path through the crowd. It was chaotic, explosions going off, smoke grenades, bike rack barriers being broken down into poles to use as weapons. Then eventually we made our way to the West Terrace itself, where a police line was being held. We joined the defense there, where we held the line as long as we could. Unfortunately, we were comically outnumbered, 175 officers to, I think it was like 10,000 insurrectionists. I remember looking out over the crowd, and I couldn't see the end of it. I couldn't see the end of their numbers. And they broke through. About 3 or 4 of them attacked me, pushed me into a waist-high barrier. One of them reached underneath my visor, gripped my face with his hand, and tried to gouge out my eye with his thumb. I was able to shake him off before any permanent damage was done. But we lost the line. We had to fall back to the building itself, and that's what we did.
Thank you very much. And I understand that the brother of Officer Seskick is here. I just want to acknowledge him. He's the officer who died, one of your fellow Capitol Police officers. I want to ask a question of the panel. As you know, everybody who was involved and convicted was pardoned. Raise your hand if you believe that those pardons were appropriate. All right, so that includes pardons for folks who were involved in attacking Officer Hodges. It does. Mr. Chairman, I have to say,
Are we being invited to speak, or is...
Pardon me?
Was that an invitation to speak, or
No.
were you... Oh, understood.
It was not. But you said, and I said, and I agree with you, political violence is to be condemned, whether it's on the right or the left. We just heard a pretty frightening description of political violence on a sustained basis against this Capitol Police officer. and there's a view that he should be pardoned. I guess I'll just say I disagree with that. I yield back.
Senator Cornyn.